Hello everyone, this is Aqua here, also known as Mike, and today I'm going to be looking at the Astrageldon boss from the upcoming Catalyst mod. So, this boss is quite something. I'm going to go quite hard on it as I feel that people tend to go way too easy on mods nowadays, and I wanted to give this boss a fair review so that people can definitively decide if they want to fight this boss or not. To start off, the boss is summoned in the Astral Biome with the Astral Communicator, an item obtained from a rare enemy that chills on the surface of the Astral Biome. The intended time to fight this boss is right before Moonlord, however, it is a super boss, so it will pose quite a threat. The catch here being that, once you kill Moonlord, the boss is incapable of spawning in your world anymore, no matter what you do. Not even cheat sheet works. If you want to fight them after that, you have to create a whole new world just to gain the ability to fight them again. I personally do not agree with how this was handled at all. I know, or at least I've heard, that this is going to be the sort of gimmick of this mod, though that may be just for this boss, don't quote me on that. I feel that is very anti-player, or however you want to call it. Locking content after a certain point of progression isn't fun, it's just frustrating. It gives the boss a pseudo-mandatory status, because you will never be able to get its items in the world once you kill the Moonlord, and nobody wants to miss out on that, right? All this for what? So you can't kill Moonlord to get some slightly more powerful weapons to take it down easier? Because the boss drops are balanced to be used against Poltergeist? Imagine killing this boss, and then Moonlord up to Poltergeist just gets destroyed. That includes Providence, by the way. But hey, I'll stop ranting about that since the mod developers seem very adamant about keeping that feature in. It's just a warning to people who want to play this mod. So, how's the fight? How'd I feel about it? Well, I have this wonderful wall of text that I wrote in the development server speaking my opinions on almost every part of the fight. With that wall of text, a few changes happened, but not enough for me to want to fight the boss again because I honestly wasn't having fun. But yeah, I'll talk about the fight for real now. I did this on death mode, by the way. Phase 1 was overall pretty good. I beat Phase 1 on my second attempt and thought most of the attacks were very intuitive and fair, with the only exception being the attack where dozens of slimes rain down from the sky, with telegraphs for where they fall. While it's all telegraphed, there was just too many slimes, and they constantly bother you in the other attacks if they still remain. I was told that you're just meant to run away from all those slimes, so I guess you can just try that strategy if you want. The attack where you circle around was fun, the attack where the boss slams down a few times was intuitive to figure out how to dodge, and the spread of projectiles that they fired while flying were fair to dodge. Once Phase 2 started, everything went to shit. I was constantly annoyed by the two barrages of projectiles that threw at you every single time it spawned in as well. It's just pointless and annoying. In this phase, it felt like no matter if I went full tank or full damage builds, I was taking the same amount of damage from the enemy, so hopefully it's obvious what I resorted to and why. The boss also gives the infinite flight in Phase 2. I hope it's obvious that this is a bad omen when it comes to these types of bosses, and this is a pre-Moonlord boss as well. A key thing always present in this phase that I hated was the fact that the border damaged you. Not only that, but it stacks these flames on you which insta-kill you if you get 4 of them. You also get insta-killed if you have Chaos State while you have one of these flames, so Rod of Discord is just off the table for this fight. Why does the border have to damage you in these fights? It's needlessly restrictive and removes some strategies. I liked how the Hellion fight from SG mod did it, where if you go outside the border, you just get petrified and pulled back in. And that's all. Back to the insta-kill mechanic, or whatever you want to call it. The first attack that Astrageldon does in Phase 2 features this mechanic. They summon a bunch of Slimers which explode and create a fiery trail where they were aiming. And these fiery trails inflict those flames on you. Remember, 4 flames, and you're just dead no matter what. Tank builds are almost irrelevant. I suppose I should mention one final mechanic that is present throughout all of Phase 2 that I also don't agree with. So, basically, every time that the boss's attack pattern loops, it speeds up all of its attacks. And apparently, all the death mode does to the AI is start the AI as if it had already gone through a single loop. This creates some serious problems, as some attacks are impossible to dodge once they become fast enough. You are forced to take a few hits in specific attacks, as seen later in the fight, when the boss does the Slimer attack on me. Right after the Slimer attack, they do this attack where they spam charges, sweeping across the arena and zoning the player. I just like how much of a mobility check this is, as if you aren't fast enough to outrun it, you just get hit. And at that point it's better to just stand still, since moving with the boss is just asking to die. Again, I don't like how you're forced to just get a good pair of wings to dodge this attack. Another attack that I hated was when the boss decided to use the attack where they jump and slam on you 4 times in a row and release some projectiles. This attack is so unintuitive to dodge and doesn't physically make any sense, as they often just slide 10 blocks to the side after hitting the ground just to hit you. Sliding 10 blocks after landing doesn't make sense. The only reason I figured out how to dodge this attack is because I watched someone else do the fight and I memorized how they dodged it. The final attack, which I had some major criticisms for, was the attack where they slowly shrink the arena while charging at you, releasing some yellow laser trails at the same time that you have to find a gap in before they activate their hitbox. At the time that I did the fight, this attack was so infuriating, mostly because of how long the laser hitboxes lingered, leaving only a split second to dodge the Astrageldon's next charge if you pick the wrong space to take cover in. Thankfully, this is one of the things changed from my wall of text that I wrote, where the laser hitboxes were changed to linger for less time. I haven't tried the fight since then though, so I can only hope that it was a good enough change and that the people attempting this boss after me have a much better time with that attack. Other than that, I think all the other attacks in Phase 2 were pretty fair and intuitive to dodge. And I have one final thing to say on that matter. So normally these infinite flight super bosses have some final desperation attack when they hit 1 HP. They become invincible, do some crazy bullshit, and you're told to go back and do everything you did just again because you died. But next time, you can dodge the final attack, maybe. Thankfully, I can say that the desperation attack in this boss is very fair, and you can dodge it perfectly on your first try. It's just some final flare added to the end of the fight for a nice death animation. Speaking of flare, yeah, this fight has a lot of it. I think that visually, this fight is amazing. Unfortunately, visuals don't carry bosses up to the top. They need to be fun to fight or overcome too, so I don't feel like my time's being wasted on some memey super boss. With a lot of touch-ups, I would have a lot of fun fighting this boss, unfortunately I just can't say that right now. But anyways, that concludes my review of the Astrageldon boss from the Catalyst mod. The first version of this mod releases on February 27th, so if you want to fight this boss yourself after all this that I've spoken about it, then head to the mod browser sometime on that day and give it a go. I'll see you next video, whenever that is. Take care. Bye bye. Enjoy the rest of the video.